Welcome back to GMA Now. At 14 years old, she came to New York with a dream, and in 6 short years, Cheryl Diamond has become one of the hottest faces in the modeling business. She can now be called an author as well as a model. Her new book, called Model, is out in stores, and it gives an interesting perspective on what it really takes to be a runway sensation. Cheryl, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So this is quite an interesting look and an unusual thing for a model to write a memoir about their time as a model.
Yes, people were quite surprised that I did. There's still a lot of shock throughout the industry that actually someone wrote a book about it finally. Someone who's still in the industry.
That's right, kind of a kitchen confidential of the modeling
Right,
business.
exactly. But I really wanted to, because I think that the characters in the industry are so outsized and exciting, and their egos can be really huge too. They
Really?
have to
I'm
be
shocked. Yes,
They
I'm
have
sure
to be
they
put
do.
down onto paper, because they're just. I wanted to preserve a really authentic look at how the industry is.
That's great.
From an insider's perspective.
I'm always fascinated at how people get into this business in the first place. You were about 13, 14 years old.
Yes.
Were you just discovered on the street? What happened?
I was walking through a local mall, and a scout came up to me from a local agency and asked me if I had ever thought of modeling. And a few people had mentioned it to me before, so I started thinking about it seriously, and the next time my dad took a business trip to New York, I tagged along and went around to see modeling agencies, and that's actually how I got signed to my first agency.
So you're
At 14.
and you're so young at this point.
Yes.
I mean, decisions are being made. You know, this is a key time in a model's life.
Exactly.
How do you deal with the stress and the demands of something like this at such a young age?
I think it almost helps to be young, because you don't realize how much pressure or stress you're under. You're more just excited to be part of such a glamorous undertaking. And the first thing that happens when you walk into an agency is they say, if they like you, they say, great, we like your look, now we're going to change everything about you. And they get you a new hairstyle. That's what they did. They gave me a totally new hairstyle, and they teach you how to walk. In fact, all models are taught to walk by gay men. Not many people know that.
Really?
Yes, but gay men, they know the runway walk so well. They move almost better than women do. And all top supermodels, if you see them walking down the runway, they've been taught by a gay man.
Cheryl, I love the first line in your book. There are 6.5 billion people in the world, but only 16 supermodels. What is it that makes a model a supermodel?
Endurance. It's really endurance, because a lot of models burn out quickly because of the pressures of the industry, or they get involved in the party scene or drinking. And so if a model can keep her head screwed on straight, that is probably one of the main factors in her future success, because nobody really becomes a supermodel until they're about 22 or 23. It's rare that they'll become supermodels as a teenager. You really have to pay your dues and put your time in to the industry. So if you can stay strong for a certain amount of time, you have a much better chance of making it as a supermodel.
For you, I mean, there are models and then there are really successful models.
Right.
What was the big break for you that really kind of catapulted you to that next level?
I would say that would be Fashion Week. Traditionally, once you're in Fashion Week, that's a really good opportunity to be seen by people who are powerful in the industry and to show what you've got. And also, if you have a good runway walk, that really will help you in your career, especially as an editorial or high fashion model.
And for all models, I mean, there are ups, there are downs. You've had some of both. I mean,
Yes.
What was the low point for you? What was the hardest part for you to go through?
The low point probably was when I got all my hair cut off and dyed bright orange.
Wow.
Yes.
Not your choice.
Not my choice at all. I was lied to, and it was during a show at Madison Square Garden, and there were 1,000 people watching it happen to me. And so that was a little bit hard for me to take. It took me a little while to get over that. I actually went back and visited with my parents for a while and waited for the hair to grow out. It's back now.
You have a fair amount of hair, so
Yes.
that could have taken a while for that to grow back.
It did take more than a year, and for the color to wash out.
It's amazing. I mean, walk us through, you talked about how much you love the runway modeling aspect of it. Take us through what really goes on for the runway shows, and then even better, behind the stages of those runway shows.
Right. Well, the first part is that everybody seems very well behaved when you arrive. And then they start getting stressed, and that's when the fun begins. Because there'll be lighting technicians running around, arranging wiring, and you have to be very careful in your stilettos not to trip over the wires, because that would be very disastrous. And also, then the lights would go off.
Oh my gosh.
And no one would forgive you for that. And the designers have a lot of pressure on them as well, because each show has to be better than their show at the previous fashion week.
What do you think? I mean, all the time you spent writing about this, thinking about this, what do you think most needs to be changed about the industry? I mean, there's been some criticism about it when it comes to issues of weight and things like that for models. What do you think needs to be changed? What would you like to see?
I would say the best thing is if they could, in the industry, be a little more sensitive to the fact of how young the girls are, and that their criticism of the girls, while not necessarily meaning to be derogatory, can be really taken that way by the young girls. Sometimes at a shoot they'll say, oh, she's too short. And to a 14-year-old, that can be like a knife through the heart, because they're very sensitive about their looks at that age, right?
Yeah.
But they're just stating a fact. The people in the modeling industry, they don't really mean to be mean, but it can be very hard on a young girl. So if they were a little more sensitive to the fact that we are so young when we start and we just need a little more kindness, it would really help, I think.
If you ran into that 14-year-old girl in the mall today, the 14-year-old version of you, would you tell her to go into the industry? Would you say, yes, do it, it's great, or would you caution against it?
I would say, Cheryl, do exactly what you did, because it worked out really well for me. I would caution young girls, it's best if they can bring a parent with them when they come to New York. But for me, I'm glad about everything. It gave me a great book to write, and overall, I still love the industry.
Well,
I'm still in it, so obviously I still love it.
You are, and doing well, and with good reason, clearly. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Very
much.
nice talking to you. It's a
You
great
too.
read. The book is called Model, Cheryl Diamond, and it'll give you a lot of interesting insight into the modeling world. Remember, it is on sale at bookstores right now. You're watching Good Morning America now. Thanks for watching.